Good Friday afternoon. Thanks for joining us on KARE 11 News Now. I'm Chris Arabsky. Breaking this afternoon, the Minnesota Timberwolves and Lynx, well, they have a new owner. According to Shams Charania, business leader Mark Stad just completed a deal to become the controlling owner and largest shareholder of the teams. According to Charania, Stad bought the majority of co-owner Mark Lohr's stake for $4.5 billion. Stad was a minority investor in the ownership group of Lohr and, of course, Alex Rodriguez. No word yet on what this means for the teams, if anything. We're going to be following this story all day long. We'll bring you more as soon as we know it. Stick with KARE 11 for the very latest. New today, Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. in Rochester, Minnesota, announcing a new federal partnership for people with autism. This new partnership is with Project Lifesaver. It's a search and rescue program for people with autism. Participants wear a small tracking device, allowing officers to track them down in less than 30 minutes. The group says more than 4,600 people have been rescued in the last 2 decades. We also have a KARE 11 traffic impact alert to tell you about, and you might be happy about it. Highway 280 from Roseville down to St. Paul, it's back open. This is video of 280 here before construction started. Officials say after 4 months of work, the highway is fully resurfaced, ready to rock and roll. Crews also repaired bridges, ramps, drainage, installed new traffic signals, and replaced the guardrails. And after the state fair, 280 is going to stay open, but MnDOT says it will need to do some additional bridge work in 2028. Speaking of the Great Minnesota Get-Together, just 6 days away. And if you're driving to the fair, there's one thing you're going to want to know about. Parking. Falcon Heights is bringing back its $25 street parking fee for a second year, and you're going to need an app in order to pay that. Kent Erdahl has more.
Signs that the Minnesota State Fair is fast approaching returned to Falcon Heights on Thursday. And not everyone was thrilled to see them.
It's just the State Fair is so expensive as it is that I kind of disagree with it.
Adam Burmeister was hoping to see the city's $25 mobile street parking zones end after a trial last year, even if it did seem to help with a common complaint.
People just circling around and circling around and circling around looking for a parking spot.
Peter Lindstrom, a former Falcon Heights mayor, says his street less than 2 blocks from an entrance was still full.
This is ground zero for the Great Minnesota Get-Together.
But he thought putting the price on par with parking lots did calm things down a bit.
I think so. Just my observation that there seemed to be a little bit less driving around.
People liked that. They liked that it was quieter.
City Administrator Jack Linehan says a Falcon Heights survey found 72% of respondents either agreed or strongly agreed that traffic felt like less of a problem last year.
We had about almost 4,000 cars paid to park last year. It wasn't, super busy in a lot of those areas.
And some say it wasn't just true in Falcon Heights.
It was definitely quieter during the week.
Misty Havens lives a couple of blocks over in St. Paul.
The speculation in this neighborhood was that people were confused about where that permit parking was, and so they didn't kind of hit up our neighborhood during the week as much.
That matches some of what we heard on day 1 last year.
More challenging to navigate.
Signage was a concern. People thought we needed better signage, so we've tripled the amount of signs and the sign styles we have.
And this year, a team of parking ambassadors will also play a bigger role.
So that's something new this year, that they can issue the tickets directly. We've decriminalized the parking violations, and so we're hopeful that that makes things go a lot smoother for everyone. The other benefit of this is it frees up our police officers.
And then there's the revenue. The parking covered all costs and still brought in nearly $50,000.
We were able to reduce our levy increase this year based on that.
That's not nothing. If that can help keep property taxes in check, I'm all for it.
If it goes into property taxes, that makes me feel better about it. It's going to be over $40 for just to get parking and then into the state fair. That's not nothing these days.
Good report, Kent Erdahl there. More people did opt for a cheaper ride to the fair last year. Metro Transit says it gave 384,000 rides on its State Fair Express buses. That's a 13% increase. Got an update now on safety at the State Fair. State and local prosecutors have secured injunctions, now keeping 10 alleged gang members out of the Great Minnesota Get-Together. 7 signed agreements promising not to attend this year. 3 others were banned. The Ramsey County Attorney and the Minnesota Attorney General say all 10 are members of two rival gangs, Muddy and Vil. Prosecutors say they found social media posts from these groups promoting, quote, the biggest fight of the summer, end quote, at the fair. Also new this afternoon, after more than 250 days at sea, the USS Abraham Lincoln is heading home. According to a U.S. official, the ship has been sailing for a few days and is expected to return to San Diego in a few weeks. It was deployed to help support the war in Iran. It has been marred with reports of deteriorating conditions for weeks. Relatives of those on board have spoken out about a lack of supplies and food and worsening mental health for the sailors. The USS George Washington just arrived to the Middle East and will take the Lincoln's place. Right now, a warning from federal agencies about an active cyber threat to certain industrial control systems, like what happened in Minnesota water plants earlier this month. Minnesota Pollution Control issued the notice on behalf of the NSA. It said hackers are targeting certain devices used to monitor equipment in a number of critical sectors like water, energy, and manufacturing. It also said hackers are using AI to make these attacks look like legitimate monitoring tools. Right now, concern is rising over the economic impacts of a new detention facility will bring to a Minnesota community. A town hall in Appleton, a few hours west of the Twin Cities, it wrapped up last night where lawmakers answered questions for the first time about the facility there. The former private prison will start housing adult detainees in October for ICE. The federal government agreed to a 5-year contract with the seller, which is called KARE Civic. Some residents are concerned the area will lose tax revenue since federal property is exempt from local tax. Tax records confirm the city usually collects about $500,000 that officials confirmed they expect to lose by 2028. Lawmakers asking residents to accept the change.
Keep that in the back of your mind, and before you go and build a 85-unit apartment building, realize that, things can change, government can change, but again, to me, it's a pretty sure thing for the 5 years of the project, and hopefully we can make changes so these aren't needed anymore down the road.
Meanwhile, KARE Civic says it wants to partner through an agreement called a Memoranda of Understanding to ensure it's operating in a way that it says will mutually benefit the community. A new push right now to end flock cameras contracts over in St. Paul. Next week, the City Council is going to consider a resolution getting rid of the controversial license plate readers. Right now, St. Paul has 12 of them. 2 are run by the police. The other 10 are run by the Ramsey County Sheriff's Office. Supporters say the cameras help prevent crime, full stop. Others say they're worried about how flock's data is shared and who can access it. The City Council is going to meet next Wednesday. It is the last day of the Outdoor Retailer Festival in Minneapolis. The event has had quite the journey. It bounced from Utah to Denver and back again, even changing owners along the way. So what's so special about this festival? Heidi Wigdahl goes inside to find out.
There's the great outdoors, and then there's the people who help you enjoy all nature has to offer.
Yeah.
Ken Goldman is extending that to our four-legged friends.
I had another golden retriever before Beatrice here, and we were doing therapy dog work. I needed something to get around the hospital a little easier. This was over 20 years ago.
His Minneapolis company, Stunt Puppy, designs and manufactures gear for active dogs and their owners.
We have everything here, and it's so accessible. You forget with the great brands that come right out of Minnesota. A lot of them have to do with water, obviously, because we have that, but there's all kinds of great stuff. Makes me proud to be here and be making stuff here.
Now, everything from our brands to our bike trails are on display with Outdoor Retailer in Minneapolis for the first time. Organizers say they picked Minnesota for a reason, with the industry contributing $13.5 billion to the state's economy in 2023 alone.
It is a big deal that Outdoor Retailer chose to plant their roots here. This is a 60-year-old trade show. They saw the opportunity here, and they saw our embarrassment of riches, not just with businesses, but our access to public lands. The fact that we can walk out our front door, especially right here in Minneapolis, and find a trail, a park, a lake.
Travis Tufte is board chair for the Minnesota State Outdoor Business Alliance. The trade organization formed last year.
The growth opportunity is definitely there. I mean, more and more people are wanting to tune out, get away from algorithms and social media, and find a quiet place or a place to find other people who are like them.
At Outdoor Retailer, the Alliance is showcasing 27 brands from across the state.
We have so much to offer here.
Linnea Swenson Tellickson is the owner of Svensaw.
The first folding saw ever invented. My dad invented this in 1961. It folds down and it keeps the blade safe.
And 65 years later, it's still made in Minnesota.
We are the sleeper in that it's pretty evident here when you see us all together about how many outdoor brands are manufactured right here in Minnesota.
Made in Minnesota, but enjoyed all across the world.
It's great that OR is here, and I hope they keep coming back.
Did not know that that saw was invented here in Minnesota. It's genius. Use it all the time. The big question is, will Outdoor Retailer be back next year? And the Minnesota State Outdoor Business Alliance says they're pretty confident it will be, but no official plans have been announced just yet. Stick with us. We got more news and weather coming up after the break.